Okay, so the first one is a relation, and a relation is simply a set of ordered pairs. Remember, an ordered pair is an x, comma, y in parentheses. That will be one question on your quiz. It's going to give you a set of ordered pairs, and it's going to say, is this a relation? That answer should always be yes. Okay, a relation is just a set of ordered pairs. Then in that relation, we have the domain and the range. The domain is the first components or the x values in that relation. So all of your first listed numbers in each ordered pair. And then the range is the second set of components or the y values in your relation or your function. So again, a relation is simply a set of ordered pairs. And then when I ask you for the domain, just list the x values in that relation. And when I ask you for the range, you just list the y values of that relation. And then a function is when each domain value is paired with exactly one range value. And what that means in plain English is each x value appears one time. You don't have the same x value repeated. That will be another question on your quiz. It will give you a relation, a set of ordered pairs, and it will ask you, is it a function? What you look at are the x values. If all of your x values are different, then yes, it is a function. If any of your x values are repeated, then no, it is not a function. Everybody okay with that? Okay, so again, a relation is just a set of ordered pairs. The domain are the x values, and the range are the y values. And then if it's a function, you will have all different x values. None have been repeated. So we're going to start by looking at, I think, if I remember correctly, pictures that have relations in like a little picture chart where you have your domain listed and your range listed. Then we'll look at set of ordered pairs, and then we'll look at graphs. So the question is, looking at these pictures, and you don't have to copy these down, you can just kind of look at them. Is the relation a function? Again, a relation is a set of ordered pairs. In this instance, we're describing things, so they're not technically ordered pairs. But you have your domain listed in the first column. You have your range listed in the second column. If each domain is only used one time, then yes, it is a function. If any of the domains are used more than once, then no, it is not a function. So if I look at that first one, okay, and follow the arrows, they're matching things up. I got me this little pointer thingy because we're going to have to look at graphs a lot, right? I can't reach the TV. I thought it was cute. It's got a finger on it. A silly thing to amuse me. So here's my domain value. It's pointing to that range value. Then this domain points down to this range. Then this one points to that. That one points there. And that one points there. Are any of these used twice? No, they only have one arrow coming from them, right? So that means that each one of them is only used one time. So would that be a function? Yes. Okay, so yes, this is a function. That's all we're answering, yes or no. If I can write. And then if I look at the second one, again, the domain is listed first, the range is listed second. 1 p.m. goes to football, 2 p.m. goes to volleyball, but 7 p.m. goes to both soccer and basketball. So would that one be a function? No, because each one of my domain values is used more than once. So far so good. Okay, with these, what I want you to do is you see you have a set of ordered pairs. I want you to first say, is it a function? So yes or no. And then I want you to list the domain. Remember, those are the x values. You just make a list of those values. And then the range, make a list there. If a value is used more than once, you do not have to list it more than once. You can, but you do not have to. Okay, so we have a set of ordered pairs for number 3. We're trying to determine if it is a function. And then we're going to state the domain and the range. Bless you. So my ordered pairs, my relation in number 3 is 1, 2, 3, 2, 5, 6, and 7, 6. And so the first thing I want to look at are the x values only. I'm trying to determine if this thing is a function or not. I have 1, if my stuff would work. I have 3, I have 5, and I have 7. Are any of those repeated? No. So would this be a function? Yes. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is try to get my pen to write, is I'm going to list the domain and the range, and I'm just going to put a D and a R so I know which one is which. All right, the domain is going to be the set of what values? The x's, what are they? What in this set? 1, 3, 5, and 7. Okay, and you see I put the little braces. The braces hold a set of numbers. Am I going to count? Oh, if you don't put those, absolutely not. Just as long as you put 1, 3, 5, and 7. Again, this is something else you'll have to do on the quiz. I think the first 2 questions give you ordered pairs, and they'll ask you, is it a relation, is it a function, state the domain, state the range. So 2 relatively simple questions. All right, what would be the range values in this one? What are my y values? 2 and 6. And they are both repeated twice, but we do not have to write them twice. You can. You can write 2, 2, 6, 6 if you want, but all you have to write is 2 and 6. So if you haven't already, go ahead and do the same thing for 4. Tell me if it is a function or not, and then list the domain and list the range. First question with number 4, is this a function? No, it is not, because what happens twice? 1, okay? So then I'm going to list my domain. What are those values? 5 and 7, okay? And then the range values? 2, 3, 6, and 8. Anybody have any questions on those? Relatively simple stuff today. We'll make it a little bit harder each day, but... All right, and then we're going to look at graphs. Does anybody remember how to determine if a graph is a function or not? There's a test that you do. Straight line, which kind of straight line? What's this kind? What kind of line is this one? Vertical, right? We do what we call the vertical line test in order to determine if a graph is a function. So that's what that says. To determine if the graph of a relation is a function or not, we can use the vertical line test. And in these pictures, you can see they already have the vertical line drawn just to kind of show you. Again, you don't have to copy these down. I mean, you might want to write the vertical line test, but you don't have to copy the graphs. If you run your vertical line across the graph, if it touches only 1 point at a time, yes, it is a function. If it touches more than 1 point at a time, it is not a function. So if you look at this first graph, okay, and we run our vertical line test, you see they have it here, but if we start at the beginning of our graph and we run our vertical line test, does it touch more than 1 point at a time? So would be a function? Yes. And then if we did the second graph, okay, this is a parabola, this is a quadratic, which we'll learn later. Not that you don't know that, but this is an absolute value graph. But if I were to run my vertical line test, is it a function? Yes. And then this is a parabola on its side. Okay, so that one is a yes. Would that one pass my vertical line test? No. If you look here, this ordered pair right here is the ordered pair 2, 4. I'm sorry, other way around, 4, 2. And then this ordered pair down here would be for -2. They both have the same x values. That's why the horizontal line test will tell if it's a function. It touches more than one point on that graph at a time. So would that one be a function? No. Anybody have any questions? All right. So all I want you to do is look at those two and tell me yes or no. Is it a function? Is it not a function? You don't have to draw the graphs. You can just look at them. Run your vertical line test. What do we think about 5? Is that one a function? No. Okay. You would touch more than one point at a time. What about 6? Yes. Okay. Even though when you run like part of the graph, it kind of looks, because it's so steep, it looks like it might touch one, but because it's a continuous movement, it doesn't touch more than one point at a time. Anybody have any